My name is Chloe Harper, I'm 32, and for most of my life, I played the part of the quiet daughter in a family that never made space for silence. We own a sprawling estate in North Carolina passed down like a crown, one my older sister Savannah always assumed she'd inherit. While she climbed every social ladder and perfected her role as heir apparent, I disappeared into motherhood and the background. Maybe that's why no one took me seriously until now. For years, I convinced myself I didn't care about legacy, about power, about the secrets buried in our lake house walls. But that changed the night of my son Eli's birthday when he walked into the dining room with a bruise under his eye and said something that shattered everything we thought was buried. What he said didn't just expose a secret, it made us all unsafe. The lake house always looked its best in golden hour. Warm light draped the cedar beams, jazz hummed from invisible speakers, and the family floated through like ghosts, wearing expensive smiles. I should have known something was off the second I saw Cole's shoes at the door. Griffin's son. My nephew. Trouble wrapped in vineyard vines and arrogance. Eli clung to me tighter than usual. I smoothed his curls, whispered, "Smile, baby. Just tonight." He nodded. "I'll try." Inside, Savannah was already holding court with a flute of rose, talking about coastal zoning permits, like she invented real estate law. Griffin sat back in a leather chair, watching the room like a man guarding something valuable. Dinner was served. Toasts were made. Eli slipped away to the bathroom after his second bite of cake. When he returned, his eye was bruised. Everything inside me froze. My fork clinked against my plate. No one else noticed until Cole leaned back, smirking. "Guess the kid finally learned not to talk back," he said, loud enough for every adult at the table to hear. A laugh.
Two.
Griffin let out a chuckle like it was locker room banter. Savannah sipped her wine without looking up. My father-in-law said something about boys being boys. I stood. Eli gripped my arm. "Don't," he whispered. "Not here." My voice cut the room. What happened?
He looked at me.
Then at Cole. Then at Savannah. "He said you all know," Eli said softly. "But no one will say it." A stillness dropped like fog. Then glass shattered. Savannah's wine hit the floor, red spilling like blood across cream marble. Cole's smirk cracked for a moment. No one moved.
Eli sat back down.
Dinner continued. But nothing felt normal. Later that night, I helped Eli into his pajamas. I kept the lights low. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Did he hit you?" I asked. A pause. Then, "He said you'd never believe me." My heart cracked open. "You know I do." Another pause. "He said Grandpa's dead. But he's still sending letters." I blinked. "What?" "He said you don't know the truth about him. That's why they're mad." Eli rolled over, curling small under the quilt. I stepped into the hallway, breath shallow. "My father died last year." Downstairs, laughter resumed. Savannah's voice bounced off the walls. I checked Eli's jacket. His pockets. Inside one, a wrinkled envelope. My name. In my father's handwriting. I ran my finger over the seal. It was dated last week. That handwriting. It's his. But he's dead. And this letter was sealed last week. The letter smelled like cedar and smoke. I broke the seal with my thumbnail, heart pounding like it knew something I didn't. Eli slept upstairs, wrapped in the same blanket my father gave me when I was 10. Rain tapped the windows. The lake was quiet. Too quiet. The handwriting was his. Sharp. Confident. Final. If you're reading this, Chloe, it means they've started watching Eli. I froze. They won't come for you first. They'll come for the boy. Because he's mine in ways they didn't expect, and that makes him dangerous to them. My breath caught. Check the cabin. You'll know which one. Burn this. Footsteps creaked overhead. I shoved the letter into the fireplace. Lit the match. Watched it curl into nothing. Eli's voice from the stairs. "Was that Grandpa's?" I didn't answer. Cutscene. 3 a.m. Flashlight in hand. I crossed the back lawn toward the storage cabin tucked beneath the pines. The same one my father locked after Mom's funeral. It had that old smell, dust, rust, mildew, memory. The padlock was new. Bolt cutters. My hand shook, but the steel snapped with a harsh click. Inside, rows of crates. Boxes labeled with my father's precise handwriting. Inventory logs.
Deeds.
Legal folders sealed in plastic. And under a tarp, his safe. Combination. My birthday.
Click.
The door groaned open. Inside, a black flash drive. Taped to it, a sticky note in red ink. For Raina only. Lightning flashed outside. Cut scene. Raina's kitchen. Barefoot. Coffee dripping slow. She taught Eli music after school.
Kind.
Sharp. Unshakable. This was taped inside a dead man's safe. I told her. You're in it. Why? She blinked. Took the drive like it might bite. He knew I could break encryption. You're a music teacher. She smiled thin. And I used to work cyber forensic contract for the state. Long story. The drive buzzed to life. One folder. Password protected. She typed. Nothing. Tried again. Still nothing. Then.
Ping.
File unlocked. One document. A notarized statement. Chloe, she whispered. This is a revised will. I leaned in. It was dated 2 weeks before my father's death. Amending his estate. Transferring full control of the family trust, not to Savannah.
To Eli.
My son. There's no mention of Savannah or Griffin here, Raina said. They were completely removed. No one ever told me, I said. They didn't want you to know. Cut scene. I drove straight to Dad's old lawyer. His office was dark. The building smelled of stale air and desperation. I pushed the door open. He was slumped over his desk. Bleeding. Still alive.
Barely.
I didn't give it to them, he croaked. They took it. They knew the name change. They knew about Eli.
Who?
Griffin. A nod. You have 48 hours, Chloe. After that. His eyes rolled back. Cut scene.
Police.
Ambulance. I stayed behind the yellow tape. I felt it in my bones. Someone was watching. They were always watching. At home, Eli was curled on the couch. Cartoons on low volume. I checked the baby monitor feed from his room. One camera, black screen. Eli, I said, did anyone go upstairs today? He shrugged. Cole came in when I was getting my jacket. My pulse spiked.
Why?
He said he forgot something. Where did he go? My room. I ran. Dresser drawers open. Stuff rearranged. I lifted the mattress. The black folder I kept, the one with birth certificate copies, our passports, old bank statements, it was gone. Cut scene. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. No caller ID. Text only. You're getting too close. Then a second. Return what he gave you, Chloe. Or your son disappears next. He wasn't warning me about Cole. He was warning me about my own blood.
Tuesday.
6:47 a.m. My hands couldn't stop shaking. I hadn't slept. Raina was on her third coffee, cross-referencing dates and deeds like she was back in an evidence lab. Chloe, this isn't just shady. This is criminal. She turned her laptop so I could see. A scanned version of my father's updated will, logged digitally in a system Savannah clearly never thought I'd access. The official copy was supposed to be filed, Raina said. It never was. They intercepted it. Can I do anything? I asked. Legally? She hesitated. Only if you prove you didn't know about the trust before now, and if we can verify the signature isn't forged. It wasn't. I'd know my father's handwriting in my sleep. You know what he used to say? I muttered. There are two kinds of inheritance, money and damage. You only ever get one for free. Raina looked up. Guess which one you got. Cut scene. I drove to the courthouse alone. The county clerk's office smelled like plastic folders and indifference. But behind one glass window, I found it. A paper trail no one expected me to look for. The land trust. The estate. The Harper Family Foundation. All tied to one beneficiary. Eli S. Harper. My 10-year-old son. The file was flagged. A handwritten note paperclipped to the top. Hold for Savannah. I slid it into my purse. Quietly. No one saw. Or so I thought. Back in the car. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Envelope with arrow. You think you're clever?
Buzz.
Envelope with arrow. You don't know what he left behind.
Buzz.
Envelope with arrow, but we do. I threw the phone into the passenger seat. Started the engine. Checked the mirror. A black SUV, 2 cars behind. No plates. I pulled onto the highway. So did it. Every turn I took, it followed. Cut scene. I ditched the car behind an old hardware store. Texted Raina to pick up Eli from school early. Said nothing else. The SUV coasted past, then disappeared. A chill hit me. The kind that says, they're not just watching. They're planning. At home, Eli was fine. Quiet. Drawing a picture of the lake. What's that? I asked. He held it up. 3 figures. 1 small. 2 tall. 1 with red eyes. That's me, he said. And that's Cole. And that's Uncle Griffin. Why's Griffin's eyes red? Eli shrugged. That's how he looked when he said I didn't deserve what Grandpa gave me. My stomach turned. When did he say that? Last week. When he picked me up without you. I dropped to my knees. Eli, when did he pick you up? Friday. After school. My world went still. I never sent him. Eli's lips trembled. He said you were busy. That you forgot. Cut scene. I ran to my room. Tore through the safe. Our passports gone. Birth certificates. Social security cards. The deed copy.
Gone.
Phone buzzed again. Envelope with arrow. Your window's closing. Another. Envelope with arrow. Return everything. Or lose everything. Raina met me at the dock. Her face was pale. I ran a background check on the law firm that handled your dad's last filings. And they don't exist anymore. Their domain was deactivated 6 months ago. The partner of record, Charles Nolan, died 3 years ago. Then who notarized the update? That's the thing. She pulled up a screenshot. The digital notary code traced back to a Griffin M. Callahan. My brother-in-law. My voice dropped. He notarized my father's will.
No.
He forged it and used it to file a fake one in Savannah's name. And if I take this to court, they bury you in legal action. Or worse. Cut scene. Dinner time. I tried to eat. Eli barely touched his food. Outside, a car idled 2 houses down. Headlights off. I closed the blinds. My heart hadn't slowed in hours. Raina texted. Envelope with arrow, Chloe. I just got access to Dad's encrypted drive. Envelope with arrow, there's a second set of documents. Envelope with arrow, your father bought land under Eli's name. Millions in valuation. Savannah and Griffin were cut out of everything. I blinked. So, it wasn't about the house. No. Raina sent one last message. Envelope with arrow, it was about control. And now they know you're holding it. They want Eli's legacy. And they're ready to kill for it. I didn't tell Eli we were leaving. I packed while he slept, his sneakers, his inhaler, the red hoodie he always reached for in the cold. I scribbled a note for the school, forged my own signature, and drove with the headlights off for the first 10 minutes. Raina was already waiting at the school's back entrance. She didn't ask questions, just reached across the passenger seat and clicked Eli's seatbelt. Sometimes safety means silence, she said. And silence always costs. Cut scene. Her place was small, tucked behind a row of shuttered boutiques near the river. 1 floor, 3 locks on the door. She set Eli up in the spare room with headphones and a bowl of cereal. I need to know what I'm walking into, I told her. You're not walking in, Raina replied. You're already inside. She pulled out a black folder. Unmarked.
Thick.
This came from the same drive. Inside were scanned copies of legal forms, a signature from Griffin, a registration with the state of North Carolina, a new LLC filed 2 months after my father's death. Eastbridge Trust Management, she read. Guess who the acting manager is? I didn't answer. Savannah. But Griffin owns 51%. My chest tightened. Why create a shell company? I asked. Raina flipped the page. Because they couldn't sell the land in your name. But if they moved the trust holdings into a shell and transferred control with a forged will, they could liquidate it.
Exactly.
You wouldn't know until it was gone. I stood. My hands couldn't stay still. They're not just stealing from Eli, I said. They're rewriting who he is. Cut scene. Phone buzz. New number. Envelope with arrow, final warning. Return the original file. You have until midnight. I stared out the window. Across the street, a man stood in the shadows. Face covered. Not moving. Just waiting. I shut the curtain. Raina pulled a duffel bag from under the bed. Inside, paperwork, burner phone, flash drive backup. You go to the media, they'll call it family drama, she said. You go to the courts, they'll drown you in motions. You need leverage. What kind?
Proof they acted on it.
Not just intent. Cut scene. We drove straight to the old lake house. Not the main estate. The original structure, my father's first cabin. Long boarded. Claimed to be empty. I still had the keys. The air inside stank of mildew and something worse. Neglect.
Rot.
In the back room, I found a safe built into the floor. Combination untouched. I dialed my mother's birthday.
Click.
Inside, a file labeled G external. And a USB drive. Raina plugged it in. No power.
Dead.
She snapped open the file. Inside, copies of internal communications. Email printouts. Handwritten notes. One said, if Savannah pushes forward, G gets what he wants. But C is still unstable. C? I asked. Raina hesitated.
Cole.
I didn't want to think about it. Then she held up the final page. My father's signature again. Next to Griffin's. It was a legal authorization to move Harper assets, signed the day before Dad's heart attack. Cut scene. Rain started to fall. We locked up and walked back to the car. That's when I saw it. Eli's hoodie.
Red. Small.
Caught on the edge of the dock rail. My blood turned to ice. He had it when we left this morning. Raina turned slowly. Did he have that on today? No, I said. I packed it. In the trunk. In the duffel. It was zipped shut. We ran. The car door was cracked open. Trunk. Empty. Back seat. No Eli. Not even the cereal bowl. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Envelope with arrow, you should have stayed quiet, Chloe. Now it's your turn to disappear. The sky cracked open as we drove. Rain hit the windshield like gunfire. Wipers screamed. I gripped the wheel like it was the only thing tethering me to the planet. Where would they take him? I asked. Think. Raina checked her phone. No pings. No location. I cloned his tablet last week, she said. If it's turned on, we might get a signal. A beat of silence. Then ping. Signal just lit up, she whispered. Lake house. Of course. The old lake house. Where everything started. I pushed the accelerator. They brought him home to erase the truth. Cut scene. We parked on the edge of the woods. Killed the headlights. Rain soaked our clothes in seconds. Thunder rolled. Through the trees, the lake house glowed, soft amber lights in every window. Like it was hosting a party no one else was invited to. Inside, they were waiting. We circled wide. Back door. Basement level.
Locked.
Raina picked the deadbolt with a hairpin. We slipped inside. The air reeked of bleach and varnish. Footsteps above us. Then a voice. Familiar.
Griffin.
You think this kid knows what he's worth? What he's holding? Another voice. Savannah. He's just leverage. Once Chloe signs the release.
I didn't hear the rest.
I moved fast. Up the stairs. Past the kitchen.
Toward the hallway.
A hand grabbed my arm. Raina. Not yet. I yanked free. He's here. I know it. We crept through the hallway like ghosts with a deadline. Lightning flashed. For a second, I saw Eli through the cracked door of the study, sitting in the armchair, duct tape across his mouth, eyes wide. I ran. The door flew open. Griffin turned, gun in hand. "Too slow," he said. I froze. Savannah stepped from the shadows. Face calm, lipstick perfect. "You always ruined everything by rushing," she said. "Even your exit." Raina charged from behind, shoulder first. Griffin stumbled. Gun hit the floor.
I dove?
Grabbed it. Then stopped. Aimed at nothing. Everything. "You took him," I hissed. "You touched my son." Griffin smirked. "He's mine more than yours. Bloodlines run deeper than birth certificates." My hand trembled. Savannah lifted a folder, threw it at my feet. "Sign it," she said. "Renounce the trust. You and Eli walk. No press. No court." The folder flopped open. A single sheet. Legal jargon. Forged notary. I laughed. I'd rather burn it all. Cut scene. Gunshot. Not mine. The ceiling cracked. Rain poured through the busted skylight. Raina held the flare gun, smoke still trailing.
Distraction.
I tackled Griffin. We hit the desk. Papers flew. Savannah screamed, reached for the gun. I kicked it away. Thunder outside. Sirens in the distance. Griffin lunged, fist flying. I ducked. Raina slammed a bookend into his jaw. He dropped. Eli sobbed behind me. I cut the tape, held him tight. "It's okay," I whispered. "It's over." But it wasn't, because as I turned toward the door, Savannah was gone. And on the floor, beneath Griffin's limp hand, a key card. Stamped. Federal Archives, Eastern District. "It's not over, Chloe. That land was never yours to begin with." Rain fell like static against the motel window. A dull, constant hiss. Eli was asleep in the other bed, finally breathing steady after the trauma. Raina sat cross-legged on the floor, her laptop open, fingers trembling. She looked up. "Chloe, this isn't just family corruption." I knew. I'd known since I saw that federal keycard in Griffin's hand. She spun the screen toward me. A video. My father. Recorded from his office. Weeks before his death. "If this is playing," he said, "then I failed. I couldn't protect what mattered most." The room fell silent. Just the rain. And his voice. "They'll tell you this land is a legacy. It's not. It's a cover." What I uncovered, what they were doing with trust money, was federal. Classified. Griffin used Harper Trust to funnel foreign contracts, backdoor deals under Eli's name. Because a child can't be prosecuted. My knees gave. Raina whispered, "That's why they came after him." I hit play again. "If you have this, you need to decide, disappear or expose them. But if you choose truth, run fast. Don't stop. Because truth demands a cost." Cut scene. FBI, Eastern District. I walked in with the flash drive, the folder, the video. They stared at me like I was holding plutonium. "You understand this will destroy reputations?" one agent asked. I said nothing. Some things need to break before anything can be rebuilt. 3 weeks later. Federal indictments. Asset freezes.
Arrests.
Savannah was picked up boarding a private flight to Montreal. Griffin went quietly, never asked for a lawyer.
Cole?
Sent to live with relatives upstate. The Harper estate was seized. The lake house cordoned off. All I had left was Eli. And the truth. Cut scene. We moved west. Changed names. New school. New zip code. The past didn't vanish. It just went quiet. Eli grew stronger. Calmer. Smarter. One night, he asked, "Was Grandpa a good man?" I didn't answer right away. "He made hard choices," I finally said. "He tried to fix what he broke." Eli nodded. "You did too." I smiled. "I'm still fixing." There are things I wish I'd never learned. Like how love can rot when mixed with greed. Or how blood doesn't make you safe, only choice does. Sometimes, legacy is a lie. And survival means burning the house down. But I've learned this too. When the walls collapse and the masks fall away, what's left is who you choose to be. They tried to erase us. Instead, we wrote the truth into history.